Part 1.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a receptionist and a woman making an inquiry about a photography course. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Montrose School of Photography?
Hi, I saw your advert in the paper this week about photography courses. I just wondered what level the course is. Is it for professionals or...
Well, we run courses for all levels, right up to advanced. As we're almost at the start of term, most of the courses are full, but we do have a few places on the course for beginners, which is the one you saw advertised.
Oh, great. That's what I was looking for. It is a part-time course, isn't it? On Monday evenings.
That's right. It's from 8 to 10 p.m. We run the same course on Tuesday afternoons in the summer, but not at this time of year.
OK. And it starts on September the 9th. Is that right? Or is it the 16th?
Actually, the course itself starts on the 23rd, but before that, we're holding a taster session on the 16th. That's when you can come along and see whether the course is something you might be interested in before you invest your money in the whole 10-week course.
Oh, that's a good idea. And is there a charge for the taster session?
Yes, it's £25 for the 3-hour introductory session. The full programme is £215 for 10 2-hour sessions, which comes to £21.50 per session.
Sounds good. You're a bit cheaper than some of the other schools I've spoken to in the area. Are you still on London Avenue?
The main school is, yes, but the studios where your course will take place are on Crabtree Road.
Oh, right. Can you spell that for me?
Yes, it's C-R-A-B-T-R-E-E Road.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 5 to 10.
So, what topics does the course cover? I do have a camera, but to be honest, I just point and shoot without really thinking about it. I'd like to learn how to use my camera properly. Then my holiday photos will come out better.
Yes, that's what most people say. Well, the course starts with an introduction to digital photography, as you might imagine. We don't cover the use of manual cameras on this course. Most people don't want that anymore, though if you are interested, we do run specialist courses for that.
No, I'm not bothered about that. What I'm interested in is how to take good photos of, well, everything really, not just people.
Well, the course covers that, of course, but also buildings and nature. We work on developing you as a photographer. You'll learn about how your camera works and also how to develop your own style. That's what will make your work more interesting.
Oh, yes, I can see that. And what about trips? Getting out and about with our cameras, taking photos of things. Is that something you organise?
Yes, we do 2 optional trips, which generally take place at the weekend. These are part of the course, but you don't have to attend if you can't or don't want to, or whatever. One of them is aimed at photographing people going about their daily routines in the street, observing them shopping and so on in the centre of the city. That's just for an afternoon. The other trip is a full day. We take you to photograph birds and animals in the country park.
Oh, that sounds fun. Actually, I've been along to your school before to see some of the student exhibitions.
We'll display your work too at the end of the course. That's if you decide to do it. We have a little exhibition where members of the public can come along and vote for their favourite photo. That's in our gallery. The winner can choose between getting a discount on another course or some designer photo frames to display their work.
Great. Well, I'm definitely very interested. What do I need to do to register for the taster session? Do I need to come along to the school?
You can book a place now over the phone and just come along at 7 o'clock.
Great. Yes, I'd like to do that, please.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2. Cut 2.
You will hear a human resources manager called Vanessa talking to new employees at a training day. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending this training day for your new job here at Torby Hotel. My name's Vanessa Marks, and I'm the Human Resources Manager. You'll all be employed in different roles, and I'm sure you'll enjoy them. The training day will consist of 2 sessions this morning and another 2 this afternoon, with coffee breaks in between. We'll start the morning session by showing you round, and then we'll come back to this room. Torby Hotel has been open for over 20 years, and we pride ourselves on offering an excellent quality service. Many hotels say they want their customers to feel as comfortable at the hotel as they are in their own home. We think people want to feel like they're away from it all, and we provide our visitors with a personal service and a bit of luxury they wouldn't normally have, which is what keeps them coming back. And it's just as important to us that our employees are as happy as our guests, so I'm sure you'll find the team friendly and supportive. Now, I'm afraid there'll be a bit of form filling to do today. You should all have received a new employee pack through the post containing your contracts of employment by now. If you haven't, let me know. That should be signed and posted back to us. There's a medical questionnaire I'm going to hand out in a moment. You can leave that with me. And don't forget to send in your bank details form if you want to get paid. That should also be in the pack. Obviously, health and safety is a very important issue in the workplace, and it's something we take very seriously here. We had planned to have a short talk, as usual, from our health and safety officer. He's actually off work at the moment, though, so he's left us a film to watch, which we'll do after looking at the employee's guide. This explains all the details of your employment, such as holidays, working hours, and so on. It shouldn't take long to look at. We'll take a break for lunch at about midday, and then we'll move on to some team-building exercises. You all have different life experiences, and I know that for some of you, this is your first ever job. So it's important to know something about who you're working with. Teamwork is essential when it comes to things like dealing with complaints from customers, for example, and feeling confident about turning to your manager for support when you need it. I'm sure you'll have lots of questions about your role, so we'll end the day with a question and answer session. I'll also tell you what to expect on your first day of work. You met your line manager when you came for your interview, and on your first day, he or she will introduce you to the rest of your team, provide you with your uniform, and so on. The following day, you'll take up your duties.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 17 to 20.
We want our customers to enjoy every minute of their stay at Torby Hotel, and that's why we take pride in providing the best possible service. You've all been offered your jobs because we think you've got what it takes to do that. Being honest, punctual, and reliable are important in any job. In the hotel trade, what makes an employee stand out is their ability to anticipate what guests need before they ask for it. This is essential to great customer service. Also, if customers do ask for something, make sure you know exactly what they've asked for. We're an open-minded team, and we know that making mistakes is an everyday part of working life, and as long as you learn from the experience so you don't repeat it, your manager will be happy. We're always ready to listen to any ideas you might have about improving our service as well. So, that's what we expect from you. What can you expect from us? Well, there are lots of benefits to working here at Torby Hotel. We pay a higher salary than most hotels in the region and allow our employees longer holidays at full pay to show how much we appreciate the work you do. In addition to this, you can take advantage of our facilities, such as the gym and swimming pool, at a discounted price. Meals are provided free of charge during your shift in the staff canteen, but we hope you'll eat in our restaurant at some point, too. No reduced prices there, I'm afraid. We used to provide free accommodation at the hotel for anyone working away from home, but we recruit locally now. So instead, make sure you can get to work and home again easily and safely with our free staff bus. Okay, so if you want to ask any...
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
Part 3. You will hear a librarian called Adam Smith talking to the students about how to use the facilities in the library. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Welcome. Please come in and gather over here around the tables. My name is Adam Smith, and I'm the librarian here. I'll show you around today and explain how to use these facilities. Hopefully, when I'm done with it, you'll know the ropes. And please feel free to let me know of any questions or concerns that you may have. Now we're at the gate of the library. Upon entering into the door, you'll find that the restrooms are on your left-hand side, and opposite them is a photocopy room. Many of you are wondering about the check-in and check-out process. What you have to do is go to the circulation desk, which is to the east of the photocopy room. The reading room is a really large area in the center of the library, just to the north of the circulation desk. I'm sure you won't miss it. If you're here to do research, this is where you should bring books to look through. However, if you're here to do any group projects or other interactive activities, I advise you to use one of the study rooms, which are just to the east of the reading room. Moving on to the southeast corner, we have the periodical section, just next to the study rooms. We have a collection of different newspapers and magazines in this section. You can get last week's weather reports, or all the top stories 5 years ago. Our periodicals can be traced back 20 years to the time when our school library was built. Our first question. Yes.
Can we check out magazines from the library?
I'm sorry, but you cannot take any periodicals out of the library. You're welcome to read them for as long as you want while you're here, but you cannot check them out.
I wonder if there is any place where we can get some food in the library. Do we have a store here?
Of course. The Food Service Center is just meters away from the study rooms. It's on the northeast corner as you look at the map. The Food Service Center offers different kinds of snacks, though it's not big. Well, moving on along to the west, you will find the Video Resource Center on your right hand. We have educational videos and documentaries, as well as major motion pictures. We ask that you pay attention to the tag on the video that you pick up, as many of our documentaries are for on-site viewing only and may not be taken out of the library. To the west of the Video Resource Center is our satellite TV station. Here we stream the news from Channel 19 for most of the day.
How many channels does it have?
It does have nearly 200 channels, but we generally will give top priority to channels with some big events, like presidential addresses or other breaking news. During the coverage of the presidential debate, students will take a break from studying and flock to watch it. Last, but perhaps most important, is the inquiry desk. It's just on the left-hand side when you walk into the library, so it's impossible to miss it. If you have any questions about how to use equipment or where to find something, come and ask the assistant. Don't be shy, because that's what they're here for.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Speaking of questions, one of the questions we get asked is how to actually check out a book once a student has picked one out. If it's a fiction or non-fiction book, look for the pink and yellow checkout card inside the back cover of the book. You can also find information about the book on these cards, including its publishing date, genre, ISBN, and a log of dates it's been checked out before. Present this card to me or any library assistant, and we'll stamp it, and then the book can be kept for 3 weeks. You can find general information on a field of study by using one of our subject guides. We have them on paper here, but any of our computers will allow you to search within fields as well.
What if the library doesn't have a resource we're looking for?
Great question. I'm going to address that. Our library is a network with a number of other universities in the area. So if there is something you're looking for and it's available somewhere in the area, we'll be able to get it for you. However, there are universities which are not part of the network, so we do not share resources with them. If you want more information about the library and its resources, you'll find it in a labeled blue folder on my desk in the Enquiry section. Okay, so that's a lot of information all at once, and I don't expect you to remember it all. The most important thing is please be respectful of the staff, and if you need help with anything at all, come and ask me or one of the assistants. All right, any questions?
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4. You will hear a lecture about Crocodylus niloticus and its living habits. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning. Today we will continue our study of Crocodylus niloticus by talking about its living habits. We've already discussed the evolutionary attributes that set it apart from its crocodile relatives. Does everyone remember that? Yes, it has an extremely narrow snout and 3 or 4 rows of protective scales on its back, as compared to 2 rows on other members of the Crocodylus genus. Let's take a look at how these carnivorous man-eaters live, where they live, and finally, whether they really deserve their vicious reputation. To start, I'd like to address a great question posed to me by a student during yesterday's office hours. We talked about the distribution of crocodiles in Africa and saw that they are highly concentrated in the south and west of the continent. This student noticed that on the map displaying the distribution of crocodiles across Africa, there were no crocodiles in the northern region, and found no mention in the literature of the existence of crocodiles in the north of Africa. Why might there be no crocodiles in North Africa? Let's save this question for later in the lecture. To find out more about the social habits of the African crocodile, one researcher named Tara Shine of the University of Ulster in Northern Ireland conducted a survey of the wetlands in Mauritania and received reports of 46 crocodiles living in one group, or float as we say when referring to crocodiles, though the usual number is a little less than half of that. In general, crocodiles are more highly concentrated in wet subtropical environments near bodies of water and rich vegetation. While South American crocodiles thrive in cool rainforests, the African crocodile is more equipped for heat. Though they can survive at the hot temperatures found in some deserts, they are not equipped to handle dry climates and thus cannot survive in places like the Sahara Desert of North Africa. As cold-blooded animals, crocodiles' core temperatures fluctuate from their average of 38 degrees Celsius as external conditions change. Thus, they need to avoid extreme temperatures. Others live an underwater life, keeping a body temperature close to that of the water. As their own unique method of regulating their body temperatures, some African crocodiles have made dens by digging holes in the ground to provide themselves with a cool, dark place to retreat from the hot African sun. Speaking of the hot African sun, let's go back to the question asked at the beginning of the lecture. We know that there used to be crocodiles in northern Africa, yet today there are none. What are some possible explanations for this? Some students have suggested that the African crocodile has evolved from a desert creature into a wetland creature, thus causing them to migrate south for more appropriate conditions. Others presume that the crocodile was hunted out of northern Africa by a fiercer predator. While these are intelligent guesses, the real story is a little bit different. The key to this migration is that the Sahara Desert did not always cover the north of Africa. About 8,000 years ago, the land was fertile wetlands, perfect for breeding crocodiles. Over time, though, the area dried out and the wetland slowly turned to desert, leading the African crocodile to migrate south to the marshlands they call home today. Some crocodiles did, however, adapt to living in dry conditions. In Mauritania, some crocodiles have learned to survive in an area where they can go up to 8 months with no water, by spending the driest of times in what's called a torpor, or short period of hibernation. To utilize every bit of rainfall, these desert crocodiles dig underground caves that collect runoff, thus staying cool and hydrated. During the mating period in November and December, males attract females to their viciously protected territory through a number of behaviors that range from snapping their jaws all the way to sending infrasonic pulses through the water. Afterwards, the female digs a hole up to 60 centimeters in depth to store the eggs for an 80-day incubation period. The female protects these eggs during the period, and sometimes even helps crack the eggs with her snout at the end. These teeth-gnashing carnivores are softer than we think. Although these vicious creatures have attacked humans on a few occasions, the residents are not afraid of them. In fact, they show a great deal of reverence towards these wondrous creatures. Some say that crocodiles bring water to their habitat, so if they leave, they will bring the water with them. Obviously this is not true, but it demonstrates the admiration the inhabiting people have for crocodiles. Generally, crocodiles do not predate on humans. They attack when humans populate the crocodile's habitat, instilling fear and uneasiness in the crocs. Like any other species, crocodiles are known to attack when feeling fear. There's still a lot more to be discovered about the African crocodile. Researchers want to know more about the population size, how many crocodiles inhabit Africa in all, how they form separate floats, etc. There is still also much to learn about migration patterns and relations to other populations of crocodiles now found in other parts of the world. Next time, we'll examine a few specific case studies of crocodile populations in southern Africa.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.